Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about Here's Negan Part 13. Now, before we dive into that real quick, I wanted to show off this really awesome Whisper War poster. This is the variant covers all connected together, all 6 of them, and the art is done by Arthur Adams. And I found it at my comic book shop today. I did not know they were selling them in the comic book shops. I thought they were online only. It's thick. It's like a photo paper kind of stock. It's not your regular thin poster material. It's got like a triple thickness to it, you know, like 3 regular ones. That's kind of the thick feeling that it has, but definitely doesn't feel or look like a cheap poster. And I am dreading looking for a frame. Yeah, I do want to try to frame it. I'm really hoping that I can find a frame that would fit this. I don't know how the hell I'm gonna do that. I don't think this is a common size, but I am thrilled. I think this is so cool. It has all the art from those variant covers. And also I finally picked up part 12 of Here's Negan. I didn't go last month to grab it, but here's part 13. And to recap, you have Negan and Dwight. Dwight was the leader. Negan is the new member of the group, but last issue he started taking charge. This kind of picks up right where we left off with the last issue, and that is what kind of makes the story feel a little clunky. We'll get into that, but they're leaving the mall area. Dwight and Sherry are arguing about who's the leader. Dwight was the leader, Negan is shaping up, and then we get the introduction and the origin story to Negan's jacket. I know, it's just a jacket, but it's still cool seeing it appear in the origin story. Negan just finds it. It looks like it's at a gas station or something. It's by a cash register. They need to get clothes because the weather is getting colder. Another group of survivors show up, and Negan says, listen, there's strength in numbers. So they join, and then at the very end, Negan gives his coat to a girl who's cold, and the guy reveals that those are his merchandise. So if Negan wants to have a good time, he just needs to ask that guy. And it ends with Negan looking like he wants to stab a motherfucker. So that's it, essentially. And I know it sounds like a lot, but not a lot really happens except for some nice moments of dialogue. And him finding the jacket was probably the really cool part. But him realizing these people are using these women for, sex slaves, or maybe using that to barter. They're kind of pimping them out. That doesn't add anything to the story. We know clearly where Negan stands when it comes to rape and abusing women sexually. That's a whole argument all in itself with his wives. But one thing I'm hoping for is I really hope it's going to clear up how the beginning starts with Negan having multiple wives. This is probably a perfect time to introduce that into the story. So I'm actually excited we're going to get a little taste of how that developed. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he just came out one day and was like, yeah, I'm going to have multiple wives. It's the apocalypse. I mean, you want to have multiple girlfriends. All right. I mean, are they wives, or are they called wives, but they're really just girlfriends? I mean, you know what I mean? Is there an actual ceremony? Is that a thing? Did I forget totally if there's a ceremony? I don't know now. I'm drawing a blank. I'm thinking not. I don't remember seeing it, but that doesn't add anything to the story. However, if it goes that direction and it's the origin story for Negan's wives, that is cool. I like that. I really like that. I can't drop an F-bomb because apparently, I don't know, there's some crap going on with YouTube now. I don't know. Just having Walking Dead in the title is like, forget monetizing videos anymore. I don't know if anyone else is having that problem, but, it's rough. It's rough. Anyway, you have Negan and Dwight arguing. I do like this a little bit. They're not really arguing, but Dwight was kind of the leader, and he's feeling a little bit pushed out. Not only that, we already know that Sherry, or at least it was hinted that Sherry and Negan have this little thing going on. So Dwight is feeling some vibes and he's not liking it. But they don't make Dwight an overbearing ass. He's just simply like, okay, maybe we'll camp here. That's fine. And Negan's like, nope, because keep in mind, Dwight isn't the perfect all-around leader. Dwight's in a position, or this part of Dwight's story is actually very relatable. Having the group pick who they think is the alpha male, that is definitely definitely going to happen in every single group you come across. Negan's size, his confidence, his charisma could be pulling the group towards him more so than Dwight, and that could be making Dwight salty. But again, I like how they don't make him just a salty little bitch. Dwight does come up to him and he's like, you know what, you're getting a little comfortable bossing us around. What did you do before all this? And then Dwight does agree, and then Dwight says, okay, I'm going to get everyone to get their stuff together. So they do make a cool introduction story to Dwight. Listen, I got the feeling there's a picture here. Where the hell is it? There's an image here of Dwight. Maybe it's from last week. He's turning his head, and I am almost, the very last panel. I am almost positive there's an image of Dwight from after he got the burn mark, maybe during All Out War, and he was doing this. And it was the same. It was one of these small rectangles, and there's something else happening, and he's kind of turning away from it. I am almost positive, and I'm kind of wondering if they did that as a callback, or maybe, what would this be since it happened before that? It's a prequel callback, whatever it is, but I'm going to go looking for that now because it's bugging me, because if they meant that to kind of like reflect or resemble or maybe mirror something that happened in All Out War, I think that would be freaking cool. I almost feel like Negan was walking away too. Like, wasn't there a time where Negan told him to do something as far as attacking Rick, and he walked away and Dwight was in that? I'm going to go looking for it. Hopefully I find it before I put this video up. But this group that shows up, this highlights the good and the bad with Here's Negan. These 4 pages I liked a lot. Probably one of my favorite 4 pages in the whole series. One of, like, if I could pick my top 3 favorite out of the Image Plus, the parts that are in Image Plus, this would be it because of the jacket, because the dialogue is actually important. There's been so many different other ones where I said the dialogue just doesn't matter. It's like small talk. Shit's happening off screen. Time is passing by. It's so clunky. And this adds to that because you have some panels that will skip days, weeks. We don't know. It skips time and it doesn't even tell you. It just tells you, a chunk of time has passed from panel to panel, picture to picture. But then you'll get moments like the 4 pages before this was a continuing part of the story, and it continued on into these 4 pages. So you get, okay, continuing panels, okay, time skip, panel to panel to panel, they're skipping time. So it's got that real clunky, rushed feeling to it. As far as some of the moments just feel way too rushed. This moment here, I feel like it would have been so much better had it been able to breathe a little bit. Maybe if there was more to it. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting overall. Now that we're winding down to the last, I think there's only, 3 more issues of Image Plus to go. They came out and announced that they're definitely doing 64 pages, something like that. And then Here's Negan's going to be done. But I almost feel like the story would be a little bit better. Like, let's say it's a 7 out of 10 right now. It has the potential to be a 9 out of 10 if they allow some of these scenes to breathe. Now, again, if you're going to argue that it really doesn't matter because of this, and this, it's like concentrated juice, you know what I mean? It has every single thing you need in there. It's concentrated into one little can. You add water and you can get so much more. Like, okay, so you concentrated the entire story in here, but I feel like you could have gotten, like, it's bitter. You know what I mean? You drink concentrate, it's bitter as shit. But had you added water to it and filled out the story, it would have tasted a hell of a lot better. Is that stupid? Yeah, probably. But that's how I feel with this story. I feel like, man, there's some good shit here, but it needs to be watered down a little bit. We need these scenes to breathe a little bit more. We need more added on to it because sometimes it can feel clunky and rushed at times. I didn't skim through Image Plus. Again, I'm kind of losing my interest with it, but I skim through it every now and then to see if there's any interesting stories coming out. What is that? That's some bloody and craziness. Alright, so here's Negan. So far we saw the introduction, the origin story of Lucille. Then we saw the origin story of Negan's jacket. That's not really as popular as Lucille, but it's definitely an iconic look for Negan. And then what else did we get? Dwight, and it looks like this is definitely the start of the Saviors and most likely Negan's wives, and that shit is cool. Now Negan's, if you remember, in before All Out War, Dwight said that Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sherry was the very first wife he took. So that's interesting how this is going to play out, where Negan saves these women. He's obviously going to save the women, or maybe not save them, but free them. Maybe this instance starts to kick off not only his wives, but also the Saviors as a whole, you know what I mean? Because he saves them. So that maybe happens before some kind of speech of Negan. I think that's the best way to play it. Don't just have him sit around and go, "We are the Saviors." That sounds cool. It has to be a moment where, you know, he's enraged, he kills these guys, and he talks about how we need to do better for ourselves, strengthen numbers, rebuild communities. You know, we need to be saviors. We need to save people. Well, that sounds dumb, but you know what I mean. Write it in a better way. We need to save and help instead of attack and destroy. Build together. Yeah, if we got to do what we got to do to bring people aboard or lay down the law, we do what we got to do, but we save and all that bullshit. Because keep in mind, he killed Glenn, and then he did a savior speech at the sanctuary like days later. So it wouldn't be so jarring, because I could see some people saying, wait a minute, Ronnie, that wouldn't make sense. Why would they call themselves the Saviors and then be okay with attacking people? Well, they do it in the comic already. It makes sense once you hear the, it's kind of like a selfish thing. Like, we're going to save everybody, but as long as they do exactly what we say, you know what I mean? As long as they wait on us hand and foot, go and give us offerings, as long as they're fine with us shaking them down, then yeah, we'll save them. But if they're not, then we got to kill them, you know, put them in check, because they will just die on their own. They will get themselves killed. We're actually doing them a favor. You know what I mean? There's a twisted logic behind it. I like it, and I'm looking forward to reviewing all of Here's Negan, sitting down and having a long chat. I'm moving in a month, so I'm starting live videos. I might try to this weekend to do a live video discussion about everything, the Walking Dead TV show, horror movies. Maybe we'll sit down for a good hour or two and have a live chat if I can get everything working. When I do move, I want to have a couple chats about Here's Negan, maybe one that is structured about my opinion, and then I'll set up a live stream with a certain time where you guys know ahead of time to maybe free up your schedule and then come join the chat, and then you can ask questions and we can have like an open discussion about Here's Negan once it's all done. Again, I'm moving at the end of May, right at the very end of the month. So in June and July, that's where the channel is going to really pick up with some interesting content. And yeah, that's it. Here's Negan was cool. I just feel like the story needs to breathe at certain moments, and that's hurting. It's hurting the flow a little bit. You give me your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking, so it's your turn.
Subscribe now.